The droids have started up their main power generators.
Then now, the time is, Commander.
Yes, sir.
This complete breakdown of Gree will pull from every resource available from both canon and legends. Let's get into it. CC-1004, like all clones, was created from the genetic template of Mandalorian bounty hunter Jango Fett, born on Kamino.
Welcome, little one. This is your first day.
Trained from birth to serve in the Grand Army of the Republic. While standard clone training included basic knowledge of various Republic species, CC, or Clone Commander, would receive more specialized training, destined from inception for his commander role. More responsibility than your standard CT, but one of his specializations would lead to a lifelong and deep personal interest in alien cultures. His fascination with esoteric civilizations became so intense that even the Kamninaon overseers took notice. Normally, such deviations from standard programming would be corrected, but at the time, a new initiative was emerging, one that encouraged individuality among certain clones. The Advanced Recon Commando Alpha 17 launched a specialized training program for clone commanders, designated to cultivate independence and critical thinking. As part of this program, commanders were allowed to choose personal names. 1004 selected Gree, naming himself after an obscure alien species, one that no one had ever really seen, and only specialists had ever even heard of them. His logic was simple: if anybody recognized the name, they must share his passion for alien studies. At the start of the Clone Wars, Gree wore standard Phase 1 clone armor, distinguished by green markings, the skin color of the Gree species. He carried a black bandolier stocked with extra ammunition and stored thermal detonators in his utility belt. His knee plates required frequent maintenance since they wore down quickly, and for missions that required additional mobility, he had an optional jetpack. As the war progressed, Gree upgraded to Phase 2 armor, and while it retained some of the green coloring of the previous set, certain sections featured darker shades, and his forearm and leg armor had camouflage patterns. His boots were black, and he carried a personalized set of green macro binoculars. And like all members of the 41st Elite Corps, he also had an alternate set of Phase 2 armor, specifically for scouting operations. Gree's standard weaponry included a DC-15A blaster rifle and a DC-15S blaster carbine, along with a DC-17 blaster pistol for backup. His gear was well suited for his expertise in reconnaissance and long-term deployments on alien worlds. And under Jedi General Luminara Unduli, Gree was placed in command of the 41st Elite Corps, a division of the 9th Assault Corps. The 41st specialized in long-term deployments on alien worlds, focusing on diplomacy and counter-insurgency in order to win over local populations. As Gree continued to expand his knowledge of alien species and customs, his expertise proved invaluable in navigating complex cultural dynamics. His unit became known for its ability to operate in hostile conditions, recruiting native allies, and pioneering the use of the all-terrain recon transports, as well as BARC speeders, and even juggernauts. Gree occasionally took direct command of smaller specialized units, including Sarlacc Battalion A and B. And during the war, he fought at several major battles, including a mission on Tabrin that would forever change him. In honor of fallen comrades, he adopted a double-stripe hairstyle, replacing his natural black hair as a tribute to those that were lost in battle. On Uba 4, he led his forces against virus-infected Octoptara combat droids, requiring his troops to keep their helmets sealed and breathing filters operational against this gruesome biological weapon deployed by the Separatists. Taking advantage of the fact that they had no organic troopers on the field, their droids could harmlessly stomp through the virus-infected air. Later, when the 41st was pinned down on Dinlo under Jedi General Voss-Ga, Gree called in airstrikes and worked with Improco Company, led by Jedi General Etienne Tur-Merkin. And together they were able to secure an escape route through the forest and along a river delta. Eventually, he and roughly 1,000 men successfully retreated to an Acclimator-class assault ship named Fearless, which would get them all safely back to Coruscant. A shining moment in Gree's career that really showed off just how adept they were at operating deep behind enemy lines, coordinating with their own forces and rescuing other Republic assets. For us on Earth, we may not have the cloners dialing and everything perfect for us, but we can take charge of our health and fitness by using things like Huel. Thanks to Huel for sponsoring this video. They're giving us a great deal. Using code METANERDS15, you get 15% off, using that link down in the description, or using this QR code. I want to show you how I've been using the Black Edition High Protein Complete Meal Powder. The macros and calories are great, but often overlooked are the vitamins and minerals. With 40 grams of plant-based protein, 6 grams of fiber, and 27 essential vitamins and minerals, all while staying at just 400 calories. I really love the salted caramel flavor, and personally why I like this is because I have really bad acid reflux, and I'm what they call like a hard gainer, so I'm eating small meals all throughout the day. That can take up a lot of time and be really tedious, so it's nice to have something that's quick and easy and actually tastes good. It's actually nutritious, not just hitting those macros, and in less than 60 seconds I'm ready to go. Which is also how it improves your quality of life, because it means you can enjoy other meals. You don't have to cram it all in every meal trying to hit your macros or calories. And each meal comes out to just $2.65, while having the right balance of protein, essential fats, fiber, vitamins, and minerals, everything you need for a balanced diet. So check the link down in the description or use the QR code to get 15% off. Code MetaNerds15 at checkout gives you 15% off your Huel order. Go check them out, I'm sure you'll find a flavor you love, and thanks again to Huel for sponsoring the video. Let's get back to it. Still during the war's first year, Gree was sent to Roodia after learning that Trade Federation Viceroy Newt Gunray had taken Senator Padme Amidala hostage. By the time he and his troops arrived at the senatorial palace aboard LAATI gunships, Amidala and her allies, including Senator Anaconda Farr and Representative Jar Jar Binks, they had already turned the tables on Gunray. Gree took the Viceroy into custody, transporting him to Jedi General Luminara Unduli's flagship, the Venator-class Star Destroyer Tranquility. Alongside Unduli, Padawan Ahsoka Tano and a squad of Senate commandos led by Captain Pharaoh Argus, Gree was tasked with escorting Gunray back to Coruscant for trial. But while on board a consular-class cruiser, Gunray attempted to bribe Gree for his freedom.
That is a very tempting offer, Viceroy. In the meantime, I have a gift for you.
But the commander ignored him, escorting him in shackles to a detention cell aboard the Tranquility. As Unduli and Tano interrogated the prisoner, the ship came under attack by Separatist forces, and learning that enemy boarding ships had breached the hangar, Gree ordered Green Company to prepare for an assault. Soon, reports came in that B-2 super battle droids had made their way toward the detention level, and Gree and Unduli quickly moved to intercept them, engaging in heavy combat to block their advance. Meanwhile, Separatist assassin Asajj Ventress had infiltrated the ship, and by the time Gree and Unduli arrived at the detention facility, they found Ventress already freeing Gunray and trapping Tano in the cell. Though they briefly gained the upper hand, Ventress detonated explosives in the engine room, causing chaos aboard the ship. Using the distraction, she cut through Gree's men and made her escape. Unduli chased after her, leaving Gree and Tano behind to guard Gunray once more. Captain Argus, though, had his own plan. Ignoring Gree's warnings, he convinced Tano to go after Unduli, leaving him alone with Gunray. This was the opening he had been waiting for, and as soon as Ventress signaled for help, Argus sprung into action. Without hesitation, he turned on his fellow Senate commandos, gunning them down before opening fire on Gree. Realizing Argus had betrayed them, Gree quickly took cover, but the rogue officer wasted no time in freeing Gunray, using him as a human shield. Gree managed to disarm Argus with his rifle, but the traitor responded with a well-placed kick, knocking Gree's helmet off and leaving him weaponless.
A clone like you would never understand. I wanted a life with more than empty servitude.
And for that you'd betray the Republic.
Both men suddenly lunged for a blaster on the floor. Gree acted fast, knocking Argus unconscious, but before he could react, Gunray struck him down in return, and the Separatists seized their opportunity, escaping the Tranquility. Later, Gree stood on the ship's bridge as the Jedi debriefed Anakin Skywalker on what had happened, feeling like he had let down the entire Republic. After all that work his brothers had done, and all the lives lost trying to catch this Separatist VIP. But throughout the war, Gree remained a tactical expert, and he was even seen as the guy to teach Jedi Knights how to use astromech droids to slice into enemy computer systems, showing them how to covertly collect tons of data.
In order to infiltrate enemy installations or computer systems, we have to be able to slice their security. Using an astromech droid, we can link directly to computer terminals, but the slicing itself takes a lot of skill and practice to master. Do you want to give it a try?
And his skills were put to the test during an investigation into Count Dooku's alliance with the Night Sisters of Dathomir, and their work on the warship Devastation.
Deeply troubled by the discovery that the Night Sisters are in league with Dooku, the Jedi Council has once again enlisted Senator Amidala's help. The analysis of Ross Ly's information points toward the planet Christophsis, where the Senator's covert probes have confirmed the Council's suspicions.
When Senator Amidala was shot down over Christophsis during her investigation, Gree joined a Jedi-led mission to locate her. But their LAATI gunship was also shot down, leaving them stranded. Gree told the Jedi to continue the mission without him and his clone brothers. Moments later, the damaged gunship slipped from its perch and plummeted into the depths of Christophsis. Despite the crash, Gree managed to recover the gunship and return just in time to provide air support. And from above, he opened fire on the Night Sisters, helping the Jedi in their battle, but Amidala was still missing. The Jedi ordered him to find a safe landing while they continued the search, and eventually they recovered the Senator, and when they contacted Gree again, he set course for a rendezvous point, ensuring Amidala received medical treatment before they left the planet. This recovery of such a high-level Republic VIP did help him to get over the loss of Gunray. Later, Gree was deployed alongside Jedi Generals Luminara Unduli and Aayla Secura, as well as Clone Commander CC-5052, or Bly, on their mission to Aslok 3. Jabba the Hutt had reported separatist activity on the icy planet, which prompted this Republic investigation. Equipped with all-terrain tactical enforcers, or ATTEs, the team scaled a cliffside to reach the coordinates provided by Jabba. What they found was astonishing: a massive capital ship crash site, surrounded by floating chunks of ice and wreckage suspended in the air by an unknown force. Determined to try and understand this, Gree and his troops used jetpacks to reach what remained of the ship's hangar, while the Jedi navigated the debris using their force powers. Once inside, they were ambushed by a vulture droid, confirming that the Separatists were also interested in this site. And after eliminating the threat, the Jedi ordered the clones to locate the ship's data recorder, while they took an alternate route through enemy-infested corridors.
Slice into the main computer, Commander. Look for any clues about what happened here.
I'm on it, General. We've got company!
Keep them off, Commander Gree!
When this skirmish ended, he presented the final moments of the ship's journey.
I'm in!
Bring up the last minutes before the crash.
Right away, General. Okay, here we go. Another ship docked with this vessel 11 minutes prior to impact.
The footage revealed that someone had used a Telgorn dropship to infiltrate a Munificent-class frigate carrying 2 classified weapons. One of the weapons was stolen just before the frigate suffered a catastrophic explosion, which is what led to its crash on Aslok 3. The resulting energy anomaly had created the strange gravity distortions that they had witnessed, and further investigation led to another unsettling discovery. Asajj Ventress had already visited the site and had rigged the frigate's remains to self-destruct. As alarms blared, the Jedi ordered the clone troopers to evacuate, while Unduli and Secura fought with Ventress in this brief duel before trapping her beneath a collapsing sheet of ice. With time running out, they abandoned the crash site, getting in contact with the Republic to report their findings to the Jedi High Council. During the campaign on Geonosis, Gree joined Luminara and her Padawan Barriss Offee in a mission to destroy a series of newly rebuilt Geonosian battle droid foundries. They arrived as reinforcements for Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano, preparing to launch an assault on Archduke Poggle the Lesser's primary droid factory. Once on the ground, the Jedi leaders devised a plan. Unduli and Skywalker would lead a frontal assault, while their Padawans would infiltrate the foundry through underground catacombs and destroy it from within using their explosives. As the battle began, Gree and Clone Captain Rex took charge of leading the clone army into combat. To help push through the Geonosian defenses, Gree deployed some of his best men, including Sergeant Buzz and Clone Trooper Draw. At first, the Republic forces made steady progress, cutting through waves of battle droids, but Poggle soon countered with experimental ray-shielded super tanks. These tanks absorbed heavy fire from Republic AV-7 anti-vehicle cannons and unleashed devastating missile barrages, inflicting severe losses on the clone ranks. Realizing the Republic couldn't win through sheer firepower, Skywalker and Unduli ordered a tactical retreat, lowering the super tanks onto a bridge leading to the foundry. Once the enemy was in position, the Jedi used thermal detonators to collapse the bridge, sending the tanks plunging into the abyss below. While inside, Tano and Offee were ambushed by Poggle's forces before they could plant their explosives. With their charges stolen, they instead commandeered a super tank and used it to destroy the foundry's reactor, succeeding in their mission, but now they were trapped beneath the rubble as the factory collapsed. As debris rained down, Gree quickly took cover, instructing his men to do the same, and once the dust settled, he and Rex boarded a gunship to locate Skywalker and Unduli, who had survived the destruction. The two Jedi generals used the Force to clear the rubble. After some very tense time and debate amongst the Jedi on what their role is, the tension between their own will and the will of the Force, eventually they were able to get in contact and clear the rubble, rescuing their trapped Padawans and securing a hard-earned victory over the Geonosian droid foundries. In the final month of the war, Gree accompanied Grandmaster Yoda to a farming moon near Kashyyyk, where separatist scythe harvester tanks were raising farmland. The Republic forces engaged the enemy, but encountered something they could not anticipate. The pollen stirred up by the destruction was clogging the clones' helmet filters, impairing their breathing. On top of that, the separatist harvesters swiftly destroyed Republic gunships, making air support impossible. Gree suggested a tactical retreat, but Yoda insisted that they hold their ground, knowing the separatists couldn't be allowed to take such a strategic location. To counter the separatists, Yoda removed his helmet and told the clones to do the same, allowing them to breathe more freely. Then, using a native Reptavian as a mount, he leapt onto one of the scythe harvesters and took control of it, turning the massive machine against the separatist forces. Though the Republic won the battle, Gree was troubled by the heavy toll. Much of the farmland had still been destroyed, but Yoda remained optimistic, knowing that the farmers could replant and rebuild. All options were better than being reduced to slaves of the separatists. By 19 BBY, as the Clone Wars neared their end, Kashyyyk came under direct attack from the separatists. Personally led the Republic's defense, with Gree and the 41st Elite Corps at his side, and to adapt to the jungle terrain, Gree donned camouflage Phase 2 armor. But as they attempted to land, separatist forces maneuvered a cruiser to block Yoda's flagship.
Get on that turbo laser and take out that Delta Squad. Concentrate turbo lasers on target.
Gree scrambled to find an alternative landing site, but they were all too far from the front lines. Fortunately, Delta Squad, a Republic commando unit on the surface, managed to capture enemy cannons and destroy the cruiser, clearing a path for Yoda, Gree, and their forces to land. Once on the ground, Gree and Yoda set up a command post in the Wookiee city of Kashyyyk, where they coordinated with Wookiee leaders Tarful and Chewbacca. And when Gree detected that the Separatists had activated their main power generator, which was always the sign that an attack was imminent, with this, Yoda gave the order for their forces to engage. The Wookiees charged onto the beach, while the 41st provided support from the treetops, while Yoda and Gree remained at the command post, monitoring the battle. But in a few seconds, the entire galaxy would change forever. It was time for the revenge of the Sith. A transmission came in from Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, ordering Gree to execute Order 66. The command that, like everything else about him, crafted at a genetic level and conditioned for every day of his life in the Republic Army, it all led up to this moment, this command to eliminate all Jedi. Without hesitation, Gree signaled another trooper, and the two positioned themselves behind Yoda, preparing to gun him down. But Yoda, deeply attuned to the Force, and even calling Gree a friend, sensed their betrayal before they could act, and in one swift motion he leapt over them, ignited his lightsaber, and decapitated both Gree and his fellow trooper, helmets hitting the ground before they even knew it hit them. A great mercy from their Jedi friend. A swift and painless death without the life of horror and guilt and confusion at what had overtaken him. Years after Gree's death, during the early days of the Galactic Civil War, his helmet would become a part of Grand Admiral Thrawn's art collection, and it was displayed in Thrawn's office aboard his flagship, the Chimera, a vessel that would haunt the galaxy for longer than the Empire itself. This in many ways is a poetic ending for him. Although it's not believed that they ever met in life, in a funny way, Thrawn may have been that friend Gree was always hoping to find, as the blue-skinned Chiss was himself of one of the most exotic people in the entire galaxy, from the mysterious, unknown regions, with Thrawn personally being known for his great interest in everything alien civilization. Wanting to know every aspect of their culture, of their art, technology, these two would have greatly enjoyed each other's company, but as the Force would have it, they would only cross paths in the form of a helmet on display. But that's it for the complete story of Gree. Please hit that like button, it really is the best way to help me out. But most important of all, remember, through the most strict genetic and environmental conditioning, no matter what you think you're creating in that lab, it will always end up being a unique individual. And the Force will be with you, always.